So I didn't know how it works. We didn't have combines, so what happens is for a month and a half before the draft, every day, Dallas or New Orleans or Denver, some team was there and they would work you out. So rather than have a combine where you work out once, then you worked out every day for somebody, except for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Chuck had just been hired. So people would say, where do you think you're going? And I would say, I just know one thing, I'm not going to Pittsburgh. So I thought the draft was like choosing up sides in the backyard. You know, I take Jon Kolb, I take Joe Green, I take Terry Henready, so I thought it happened like that. It took them maybe an hour. So the afternoon comes and nobody's called, and man, my heart was broken. And it passed me up, and what am I going to do now? And I thought, well, maybe I'll be a free agent. So I went to the workout, and I walk in the dressing room, and all my buddies are there, and they say, there's a man named Mr. Rooney from the Steelers on the phone. And I go, yeah, right. Because I thought they were putting somebody up to this. And so I was very, very rude to Mr. Rooney because I was heartbroken, and I was mad that my friends would stage this thing. And he said, this is our Rooney from the Steelers, and we're very happy. Are you happy? And I said, no. And so we hang up, and 10 o'clock that night, the news comes on, and I'm thinking, well, I'll turn the TV on and see where my friends went. And the TV comes on, and Eddie Hinton from the University of Oklahoma going to Baltimore Colts, Terry Brown, my roommate, going to the Minnesota Vikings, Jon Kolb going to Pittsburgh Steelers, and I was like, really? So I called the next day, and I'm almost in tears apologizing that that I was rude to Mr. Rooney. But he met me when they picked me up at the airport. Mr. Rooney met me at St. Vincent College. He was there waiting. And I got to play 13 years and coach for 10. And he would come into the coach's room, and I would say, Mr. Rooney, I'm so sorry. And that was by then 15 years prior to that. But I tell you that because it gives an example to me of the class of people. Look around. See how they're doing stuff today? Can you believe they invited you and I back here? I mean, they're still that classy people. So that's what it means. It's just you're in the best organization in professional sports. Yeah.
I take it you're surprised that you're in this Hall of Honor then? The way you put that?
You know what? I don't know any person, and you can ask Greg the same question. I could have played my 14th year if they would have changed the schedule so we play every other week. Give me a chance to heal up from the last game. So I don't know anybody that says, I don't like football anymore. I don't think I want to play anymore. You'd play till you're 90 if you could. And so the honor and it's being able to do something that you can go as hard, snap the whistle. You can go as hard as you can, and you challenge yourself every day. We had a coach named Chuck Noll that brought that out in us. The game at that point was about technique, and we worked technique. I love to play Dallas because they'd say, we know every play you're going to run. Why do you think why are you proud of that? If you knew what we were going to do and you couldn't stop us, why are you proud of that? And so to be part of that organization, and I think the hard thing then, or maybe the important thing, Greg is a 29th degree black belt in karate, jumps 17 feet and kicks out windows. You find something that you can do. I think you live your life with you drive your car with a seat belt, but you don't live your life with a seat belt when you're playing for the Steelers. And so you need to find something, and when you do that, you're good to go.
When they adopted the Hall of Honor, did you expect this would ever be a possibility, and what's it mean to go in with one of your contemporaries like Mike?
So I think playing offensive line is like being a sniper. Greg Lloyd being an outside linebacker, that's more hand-to-hand combat. We got to, we have to be able to block things out. My guard, Sam Davis, I have to be in symphony with him. What he's doing, we have to know, and you can't play with emotion. So you just learn to focus. One of my favorite Bible verses is in Luke, and it says, "From that time forward, Christ set his face to go to Jerusalem." And it's a question it's a statement that asks a question: where's your face set? And so when you're playing, you have your face set. And so when that kind of stuff comes up, I just keep my face set on what I'm doing, and I've just learned to do that. So then when Art called, I was in Idaho. We just floated down the middle fork of the Salmon River, and I'd made it again. And I was thankful for that, because I do that river, half the river upside down in my kayak, because I can't get it flipped back up right away. And he called, and I was emotional, just like Mike Wagner, and I'm not ashamed. I don't get that emotional very often like that, but I was emotional in the car somewhere in Wyoming, in my truck, somewhere in Wyoming with my son sitting next to me, just floated the Salmon River, and it was really an emotional thing.
Jon, what made those lines that you were a part of so good?
I said last night in my little talk, there's a book, I can't think of the author right now. The name of the book is Man in the Mirror. And the point of the book, he says three things. He says the process is the purpose, the goal is the relationship, and the plan is God's. And so that process of training camp, the process of training in the off season, the process of exhibition season. I hated exhibition season because you're playing, but it doesn't count really. And then regular season and this whole process. That's the purpose. The goal then was the relationship, and the relationship you build. My roommate, 10 years, Sam Davis. We played next to each other. And so you build those relationships. I got to see Joe Green again last night. I met him at the Senior Bowl on an aircraft carrier. There was Joe Green on the aircraft carrier. There was those F-14s and Joe Green. I couldn't tell the difference. I mean, it's big as an F-14, So you build all that up over the years, and those relationships, they're tremendous. And so now we're getting to the point we're losing my roommate, Sam, again. Lost him a year and a half ago. Tunch just recently. So every time something like that happens, it just solidifies how you feel about it. Did I answer your question?
Did you say you met Joe Green on that?
So at that time, and probably Greg can answer this too. Oklahoma State, we were in what was then the Big Eight, but if you played in the Senior Bowl, you got to play against the best guys, and that gave you an opportunity to make your value go up in the draft. And I remember seeing Art Rooney Jr. down there because who are these guys? But anyway, so they took us out in Mobile, Alabama. They took us out to the thing there. There was this big, huge aircraft carrier. We had dinner on that. And so, like I said, there's all these F-14s on this deck, and then there was Joe Green, and he was as big as this airplane. I just remember, and then the next thing I know, he was the number one pick, and I was L.C. Greenwood and myself were in that draft as well.
Jon, what's it like to see the post-playing career of Terry and all the things that Bradshaw is doing? And imagine with his personality, probably not surprised by some of the things.
Yes, Terry. I love to tell stories about Terry because I call him once in a while and he never calls me back. But I used to tell Terry, we were roommates after Sam retired. So then they gave me Terry, and I wanted a raise, but they gave me Terry Bradshaw for a roommate. No. And sometimes, I go, Terry, you're all hat and no cowboy. he got the boots, he got the he got the hat and all that stuff. He comes out to my farm, he saddles the horse, and gets bucked off and caught by the rope and drug around the pasture. I mean, that's Terry, and so your job is to try to keep him safe on the football field. I can't even keep him safe in real life, but he seems to be doing pretty well now.